Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This is the third series in the Around the World series, and I know a lot of you have been here since the beginning. This is Around the World in 80 Rocks, Fossils, and Formations, and we're on number 6, which is Europe. It was really, really hard to decide what to pick. It always is. Um, if you are new to these sessions, what we're focusing on is one, learning about something new that we didn't know anything about before. That's the nature of nature journaling, is we are exploring and then learning how to record it in our journals quickly without getting too upside down, sideways, backwards, and frustrated because drawing some of these things is difficult and scary. So this is a way to practice. And what we do is 8 subjects, 15 minutes-ish each. And your objective is we're capturing the essence of these. We're not copying them exactly. And I know, raise your hand. Here I am. If you're a perfectionist and you want it to be like absolutely perfect, but you can't spend 3 hours, sitting there drawing that rock that, while the rest of your group has gone on. So this is a way to learn to quickly capture the essence. Then we can come back later maybe and finish up the watercolor. So that's the essence of what we're doing, to look at our 80 rocks, fossils, and formations. And if you're new, I am Roseann Hanson, exploring Overland and the Field Arts Institute. My husband and I also publish Exploration Quarterly magazine, which includes a lot of fun field arts things. And I'm author of Nature Journaling for a Wildlife and Master of Field Arts for those of us who want to go on and become lifelong nature nerds and naturalists. So this is just our quick geology reminder because it's something I forget, and I like to be reminded that rocks are made up of minerals. Minerals are made up of elements such as iron, magnesium, calcium, silicon, and then minerals become rocks through formation processes. And I love this quote: think of minerals as cooking ingredients, and the rocks are the finished dish. And if we just remember our basics, the types of rocks are igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. We'll see examples of all of this today. And now, of course, I have to do my joke. Yes, got started, can't stop. Why are geologists so good at solving problems? Because they always dig deep. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get started. We are going to begin in the British Isles. And we're going to zoom in here. We're going to Glastonbury, to this incredible formation that sits on a plain and rises up. Look at that. It's called Glastonbury Tor, T-O-R. It's quite a unique formation, has an interesting history. Those terraces around it, they still don't know for sure what those were. They could have been, they thought perhaps ancient pathways or mazes or hedges that were used, because this is a very ancient site that dates quite a ways back, pre-Roman. And then there is a church tower on top. You can see there the terraces and how this formation is. The actual tor or hill is blue lias, which is limestone, calcium carbonate, and shale, and it was laid down in the Triassic. It's about 515 feet tall, rising from the Somerset Levels, which is a coastal plain. So it looks quite dramatic. So from the Iron Age up to Roman, is common artifacts around. The tower dates to the 13th century, and it is tied to the Arthurian legend. The early Britons in the Middle Ages called it Innisfallen, the Isle of Avalon. So fun little facts there. So how would you sketch that? Well, while you're there, of course, you won't get this fantastic overhead view, but the way I would go about doing this, um, you can look on Google. You could sketch it from below with the tower on top, but let's do the geologic formations of it. So I'm going to, let's see, let's get this little guy focusing. Come on. Thank you. What I'm going to do is sketch the it's kind of an amoeba shape. I'm going to do the outline. I will do this. I'm going to press a little harder than I normally would so you can see it here. And I'll have my little kneadable eraser ready because I don't like to leave that much graphite for the watercolor. It gets it all mucky. The tower, I'm going to just mark with a little square here. And then to give us some, to help with kind of showing the contours. So first I'm going to do the path, which kind of comes down like this. And then let's do just a few of the contours. I would do broken lines. You don't have to get every single one, but we want to show that'll help with the showing the shape as well. And it's kind of pinched at the ends. It gets sharper at the ends, so we can help show that with the contour markings and the fact that this pathway seems to go all the way across, creating this kind of pinched. You wonder, like, about these contours. They are not quite sure what those were from. So on part of the edges, it looks like there's hedgerows here because there are farm fields. So I'm just going to remind myself to leave, I would put those in with watercolor. There's some woods down below. You see how I'm just marking that out. And then maybe I'll just show a few of the hedgerows coming off. We'll hit those just, watercolory bits. Over here, I think what I'll do is kind of have fun and let's draw the tower, which is quite dramatic. It's just a hollow tower now. It's an old church tower. Let's the it's tapers a bit to the top. And then the looks like the entryway is pointed like so. Can you see that? And then it looks like there are, say, like a couple of steps up, and then it has three block. Oops, I'm covering that up. Like crenellations, as it were.
Roseann,
Yes.
Roseann, I can't see your drawing much at all. It's very faint.
Try brightening your screen a little bit. I can't quite get mine any brighter. Let's see. See, that blows it out.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm going to start with the watercolor, so that should help. And so my tower is not floating in ether. Let's put they've built a concrete pad or some, or just a gravel pad around it. So now my little tower is there. I think I made it too short. It's too stubby, so I'm going to extend it a little bit. This is why I do pencil on a lot of these because of the proportions. It gives you a chance to fix it when you mess up your proportions. If you've just joined us, we're at Glastonbury Tour. I'm going to be writing this down soon after I get some preliminary watercolor in. Oop, that one got a little dark. Oh, if you don't use kneadable eraser, highly recommended. It's not as damaging to watercolor paper. Okay, let's quit fussing with the tower and get our color going. I've got my little minimalist color. Wake it up with some spritzy water. I think what I'm going to do now, we want to put some shadow in. So I'm going to do a pretty light green so I don't kill the whole thing. I'm pulling off some of the graphite because I really don't like the way it mixes with watercolor. It gets it kind of yucky. That's a technical term. I think I'm going to start with my, oops, sorry about the wobblies, travel brush. I like it ever so much better than the water brush, but sometimes the water brush is easier. So mix some bright green, but I'm going to make it fairly light and more yellowy on the yellow green side. So let's just get that laid down, see if I can remember to reserve the tower, although I think it'll be dark, so it's okay if I go over the tower. I also might go ahead and see how I've got some dry brush going on, kind of like that, but not sure I'll be able to reserve it all. And then using a very wet brush, we'll just extend around the tower like so. It's what I like about the natural brushes over the water brushes. It's so much easier to do when I'm doing is pulling the edges. Now let's darken. I'm going to get some of the dark blue and create a, a darker green just to mark these hedges and see if you just blob it in there. It's still wet, so I'm hoping it'll bloom a little bit. There's more of a wood out here. Well, yeah, let's see. If we have time later, we can add the village for scale. Now, I'm gonna let that dry a little more. Maybe I'll just use the burnt sienna to mark. Let's see. I hope this won't bleed too much. Let's see what's happening. Rather than black, that turned into more of a circle because it's bleeding a tiny bit. So I can pull that off in a minute. There's a danger of overworking it and then having it take be too big. And then that tor is mostly gray. I'm going to make a quick gray here with the burnt sienna and indanthrone and just give a wash here. Preliminary, and we'll come back with shadows. Fill in the doorway. Oops, bled down a little bit. This is a very, such a nice brush, but it's also gets very wet, which means you really have to watch your control. All right, so that tor, what I'll do is come back. I could use some of this gray in here, although I'm really liking the neutral tint better. It behaves a little nicer. Um, so you want to get some of these contours. So we'll just I want very lightly. It's almost too much there. See how you can get just a little bit. And now I'm going to go in with a very wet brush with no paint on it to smooth that out. That's how we're going to get those terraces and show the contours like that. See how that works, and we'll continue around the other side. And then, yeah, it's time to kind of move on. So this is how we'll remind ourselves how we're going to do this. Also, don't forget, we want to label because we're learning. So I will pause here, grab my pen, and we can come back, fill in the fields, make the hedgerows a little fluffier rather than like a little spiky. So hopefully that's dry enough. This is number one. I can't see that. See if I can write so you can see me. This is Glastonbury Tor. And it is, oh, there's a blob of water right there. Blue lias, limestone. Plus shale. And shale is also a, uh, right, sedimentary. It's super fine. And so the tower dates to 1300s, right? No, 14th century, yeah. 14th century. And Arthurian legend. Let's give it its, I believe that's Welsh. Innis Avalon. Isle of Avalon. The Lady of the Lake. Fun. Oh, how tall is it? It was 515 feet. Whoa, I got the water. That water blob. I can come back and fix that. But you can see here how we'll get that going and give it a little more contour and fun. But where are we going next? Because it's time to move on because we are trying to hit about 15 minutes per. And we had some uh let's see, play some housekeeping at the beginning. So that will be fun to fill in all those contours. All right, but where are we going next? Aha, this is going to be a very challenging sketch. We're going to Northern Ireland, to the coast. This looks like just a peninsula, right? But no, if you zoom in, it is actually comprises hundreds of thousands, millions of these pedestals that are almost all mostly hexagonal, and it's quite dramatic. Look at how these rise up. You can imagine in the early days of humans in this area how people would not possibly believe it was naturally um, made. In fact, the myth is that the Irish giant Finn MacCool was challenged to a fight by the Scottish giant across the sea, uh, Benandonner, and Finn built this causeway so they could get together and fight. So it's called the Giant's Causeway, and it is basalt which is an extrusive igneous rock. So during volcanic fissure eruption, maybe 66 to 23 million years ago, the molten basalt intruded through the chalk beds. And as the lava cooled and contracted, introduced downward pushing cracks, leaving these pillars that are mostly hexagonal. The tallest is about 40 feet, 12 meters high, and they're quite incredible. Now, sketching these is going to be a challenge, right? Because you're going to be so tempted to draw every single one. So how do you do this quickly? Let's see. Nope. There we go. What I recommend we do, I'm going to move this over. So, okay. What I recommend we do, I'm going to draw mine up here. This is too bright. Yeah. Even more. Okay. What I recommend we do is I'm going to do just a barest kind of suggestion of the formation and the height over here. Then I'm going to draw a zoom in using this as the inspiration. So what I'll do, and remember, we're capturing, we're not trying to copy this exactly. So first, get the general kind of crescent shape of this uh, formation that we're going to do. I'll press harder than I normally would um, here. And then it's going to have this little cove here. So what I would do is just draw your outline here like stepping stones, which is what they look like. Vary the vary it a little bit, but don't worry too much about, try broken lines, come down here, because what we're going to do is we need to show, oops, I have to get rid of, what am I doing holding that? That was funny. I was still holding the tissue. I want to get rid of that there. Now, start doing vertical lines to create your columns. Don't worry too much yet about you're not doing exact. We're capturing this essence. So now start doing some horizontal lines. And if you want a few columns, shorter columns down here, you could spend hours drawing this, but we're sitting here, we're at the Giant's Causeway, and we're trying to just get a capture the essence. So maybe shade a few, but don't worry about getting too detailed. This is tiny scale. If you want to throw in some people, that works too. Just a few details, but don't worry about drawing every single one. We're going to hit this with some watercolor. That will really help. You could put your little, put a few people, let's see, sitting, here's a lap, a head. Let's do someone standing. And that helps give it that scale. We're going to draw our box in here, which is going to help us contain our the sketch, so you don't have to sketch the whole thing. Boxes are so useful for this. I don't worry about perfect lines, but use a ruler if you wish. That helps. As you can see, I'm just throwing in a few more details. You can see it's so hard to stop, right? And then this is, we've got our ocean coming in here. And we'll hit that with some watercolor. How many of you are like, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't stop. Okay, let's focus now on capturing a little bit in here. What I would do is let's grab a hexagonal shape. Again, we're capturing, we're not trying to make an exact copy here. Don't get in the weeds. It's so easy to do. I'm going to start with one. Give it a down. There's one coming in here. And gotta build this one over here. That one sort of goes off the I've got one coming up here. Where is it? It's kind of coming here, and we've got it here. They get squashier the more farther away they are from your eyes. So don't make these up this taller ones as wide so that it fools the eye a little bit. Let's make this one taller. And you'll just pick any shapes that work, work for you. We're capturing, we're not making it a perfect copy. Gets a little obscured there. We're going to make this one go all the way down. Is that the way it is in reality? No, that's okay. This just gives you a nice capture of these shapes. And I wouldn't worry about going too much farther or will not get too far along. You see how that helps capture it. You can go ahead and maybe just very lightly sketch in a few more shapes here, but don't worry about finishing that. You'll have your finished ones here that you can focus on because we're doing quick captures here. Didn't we need to get a little bit more angle in there. Now, see how I've already smeared all that graphite on my hand. I think what we'll do, let's see, get my watercolor going here. It's got a lot of graphite. I made it pretty dark so you could see it. I'm going to pull some of it off because it will muddy up the watercolor. We're going to get kind of that peachy color. Let's get, I'm going to clean my palette here. So the peachy color, kind of peachy, kind of sandstony, basically. Easy to do if you throw in some burnt sienna, but then knock it back with some of the yellow. And it turns a nice sandstony color. Make it even more watery. And let's get that in there so that then we can come back and get the shadows after it dries. And then to approximate kind of the water, we're going to put some indanthrone, get it quite wet so it's not, don't want to fill it all in. You want to leave all that foam. Make it darker here. I think we'll leave that for now. Grab some of that sandstone color. Being careful not to touch that blue. I'm letting this side fade a little bit. It won't be quite as detailed. You see how the graphite kind of muddied that up. And if you want, if you want to emphasize or not the people, maybe they can have like a red shirt. It's up to you. And then let's put in some shadow. It's still very wet, so be careful. Oof, very wet. Ooh, see, that is really bleeding. I think I will wait because I want to keep some sharp lines there. So what we're going to do, yeah, that's just making it too hard. When it's dry, it'll be super easy. You want that octagonal, excuse me, hexagonal um form. Let me just go in. We'll do our notations. Maybe we'll be able to come back and add more watercolor, but still too damp in there. And I just like to sometimes go straight to the pen. I can erase that later. I'm not going near that blue though. Okay, so this is number 2. Giant's Causeway. And what we have are, oh, 40,000. Not sure how they calculated. Are you guys still seeing this okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Interlocking basalt columns. And it's probably a volcanic fissure eruption. So we're talking about 66 to 23 million years ago. That is the abbreviation MYA, million years ago. And that it's extrusive igneous. And if you want to write more about the legend of the giants, that's fun too. But you'll see when we are able to come back, adding just a little bit of shadow. Your neutral tint is a great tool. You'll see how we can make these forms really pop. And then we can go in and not go too crazy, but we can put some in here to help just create that illusion. See how that even just starts to pop it out there. You get the gist of what we're doing. I'm not going to spend, oh, I'm missing a drawing in here. Not sure what is missing. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to think about that there. We'll make that there. So you get the gist. I think we captured that. Dark, so your friends here, so you'll want to go in and give that more depth. So you get the kind of get the gist. but we're going to move on because we have places to go and things to see. All right, moving on. I hope you had fun with that one. That was very challenging. Where are we going now? Well, we're heading up to Germany, and a very cool story here. We're going to look at giant ammonites. Uh, Very, very fascinating how huge these creatures were. This was actually me. I found one on the coast of England. I would have loved to have gotten that one back. But the ones we're looking at here are actually uh, were unearthed in Germany. And the exact species were found both in Europe and Mexico. And they think maybe they were mating or hatching sites in both, which was very interesting. But this is like 5, almost 6 feet across. You can see the guy in the picture there. So it's the largest known ammonite, which is a cephalopod, Parapuzosia sepinrandensis, radensis. Um, and let's see, 80 million years ago is when they were active. And the largest ones were females, which is kind of common. So let me grab a sip here, tea. And we're going to kind of go back down to this part of the pages. I think what I'll do is I'm going to let's put the see if I can get more light on this. Oh, it's very cloudy today, so I'm sort of how's that? This guy there. Um, let's put the shape of the fossil here and leave room for sketching our, well, obviously this is an artist's idea of what they look like. So here's just to get some scale, do your, there's the opening of the shell there. We'll bring that around like so. Sort of has a base. It must have been the way it came out. So it's got a little bit of a foot here. So just use your pencil lightly to feel out the shape. And here's our beautiful Fibonacci spiral. And then just very lightly mark the flutes, giving a little bit of a curl so that we're going to emphasize the rounded shape. And they're not, the flutes got less obvious. It looks like it got weathered quite a bit here, but we want to show a little bit of how we'll use shadow to show how it's bulging there. And that we've got some, you've got just a little um, texture. Then we can have fun here, slightly smaller because you don't have room. I don't have room. You can do it however you like. Is going to be the smaller version of what the cephalopod looked like. The rendition's been kind of much bumpier, so that it's showing probably the shell will leave a little bumpier. Let's Here's the nope, didn't quite get that right. We want the housing where the body comes out. There we go. And then just the kind of suggestion of the spiral. And our little head coming out here. And the tentacles, like so. Kind of extend up a little bit. And a suggestion of the eyeball. We'll get that. Like so. That's kind of fun. Of course, the colors and everything it's just guessing, isn't it? But we will make sure we kind of put a little seafloor down here so we can show what's going on. So it's not too hard to do the color here. We're going to go back to how we did the sandstone. Again, I'm lifting this off because of that pesky graphite. Let's see. How do we make sandstone again? I use burnt sienna and then drop in a little yellow, make it quite watery. I think that approximates the color nicely. If you've got good textured paper, that'll help with the texture of the fossil. I'm going to try to leave these dark, as much dark there as I can. That helps. See, dropping it in while it's wet. That'll help with our contours. You see that? Looks nice. And we can do the same here, where it's a little bulgy right here. A little bit darker around the edges. And that's showing more of that shape, isn't it? And the neutral tint, we can come back and add. If it's too wet, you'll see it's starting to lift it more than it's helping it. So I'm going to leave it for now. And then we can play with, how are we going to do this guy? You can choose anything you want. I don't have time right now to do that fancy way the shell is, though I can create some purpley and just do some patterns perhaps. Remember, we're capturing. We don't have time to do exact replicas. Besides, this is a fanciful thing anyway. So that's the beginning of how we might do that. And then I just kind of got like this salmony color. That's an interesting color. Wow, it's like very orangey. Start with magenta. Let's see how orange I can get it. That's a hard one. If you have orange in your palette, woohoo, that would be great. That's kind of salmony. Haha, this is a challenge. So it's fun though. That worked. Now I'm going to just dry brush, trying to reserve the white. That's hard. Might have to come back with white gel. I kind of messed that up. But you see how we're doing. Fun. I think that works. Oh, let's hit the green seabed. I just make it kind of messy, so kind of seagrass. See, I'm throwing in some dark blue in there, how that makes it instantly just more interesting. I think that's going to be fun. Oh, we need to write down who this is. We're doing a bit behind today. Let's see, 1, 2. This is number 3. Giant ammonite. And the species is Parapuzosea. Um, Sepenradensis. I find it helps me if I say it out loud, then I can spell it better. And it was 5 to 6 feet across. And we're talking about 409 to 65 million years ago. And these are from 1895, found in Germany. I didn't leave enough room for more details, but you should be able to, because it's time to move on. Uh, We'll see. I see someone's put something in the chat, hopefully, that is not a question. If it is, just read it out loud for me. All right. Number 4. This time we're zooming all the way over to Romania. Oh my gosh, these are so much fun. Look at this. Okay, that's like human size tall. These are called trovants. That's limestone, calcium carbonate. In Romania, Kosteci, I think it's pronounced maybe, formed from sand grains or rocks bound by limestone cement. Here's the thing. They actually grow and then give birth to baby trovants. Now we know, of course, they don't really give birth, but what happens is with heavy rain, it's saturated with water. And we're talking about growing like a centimeter every 1,000 years here. The water penetrates the rock, and then the limestone cement oozes upwards, adding to the size, so they actually grow. And then when water only hits on one side more frequently, the blobs can emerge. They often will, well, often, geologically speaking, thousands of years, will break off and then start growing a new trovant. I think that is just so fun. So let's draw this guy. It's really fun. This is not going to be super easy. It's to be challenging and fun. So what I would do first, let's make sure we have enough space here. Um, I think I made this a bit bigger than I should have. I should have left more room here. So I'm going to have to scale this down a little bit. I'm going to start with the shape of the main piece, and then I'll add the blobbies. I'm going to have to make this smaller than I wanted. So it's sort of got this, it just a kind of a blobby rectangle. Now, now we can start adding. So here's the collar for that main round one on top. It's quite round. And get the proportion, play with it till you get it right. If you use use the measurement here, it's that wide, and then that's 1.5-ish. I'm looking at the actual one. Yeah. It's a little bit, we're gonna bring this down a little bit because I got the proportion a little off, but measure out your proportions. That works. Then we can add this birthing one here. Oh my gosh, look at that. This collar comes in. I want to be sure to capture that as kind of important. Then we've got this growing new baby here. It's like a lens, isn't it? And blah, blah here. Actually curves in. And we've got a new growth here. And give it a little, you've got some like little contour lines here. And then see how it's sort of got a lip there, so you can show, don't make it quite as strong as I did, but that's just to remind you that how that's forming out. I've not quite given myself enough room here. See, we'll come over here. We've got some contours, shadow. You've got a degrading smaller one here. These got cleaved somehow. Like so. And then didn't make that big enough, did I? See how you have to watch your proportions. Comes out the side. And then we have growths out the back. Interesting, isn't it? Don't you just love this stuff? And this will be in shadow in here. And then we've got, it's funny how the parallax of the camera here is altering my drawing, but it's a little not quite as smunched as it looks in the camera. We've got some contour bits going on here. Yeah. And you can refine it as you go. Oh, there's this one back here. Wasn't sure if that was growing on it or if it was, I think it is. Make it a little less detailed. So there's our Travons. Oh my gosh. Isn't that fun? All right. I'm going to, wow, we need more of that limestone, don't we? It's a very limestone heavy session. There's more color in this, so let's see, going to leave it. So for these back ones, it's got more yellow in it. This one as well. Now I'm going to I'm bringing an indanthrone blue to my mix of yellow because I want more of that kind of grayish color. And then I can wash over it with more limestoney color. And I'm leaving it kind of definitely don't color it all the way in, leave lots of gaps. Yeah, I like that better. Trying not to overwork it. Isn't that the hardest part? Don't overwork it. I'm gonna let that dry. so I don't overwork it, right? This will be in shadow. But that you got the gist of it here. This is fun. I love these guys. All right. Gonna let this dry. This gives you time to take notes. This is number 4. Trovance. I just love this. It's all about learning and expanding our exploration of the world. These are at Costetsy. Don't even know how to quite do the little squiggly in Romania. Would be fun to go there. And they are limestone, calcium carbonate. And they are growing. They grow through, uh, let's see, expansion as water infiltrates. And cement moves outwards, moves out. And we're talking about over 1,000 years, each centimeter of growth. And then babies, haha, and fall off. Oh, one thing I forgot while I've got my paint set out. Um, let's get some green. This will help with the scale. Don't forget to do a base, and then we can darken it with more details. I'll come back with more green, do a little edge pull here. So you let that dry, come back, darken, add more blades. We'll darken, add shadows, and give it darkness around the edges to make them more round. But I think initially that color we laid down came out pretty well. But since I'm going to have to turn the page in a minute, I'll leave that for now. And we're catching up on time. Yay! That was a good quick sketch. I hope you had fun with that one. I will come back, erase some of the graphite. I'll probably go in with the pen. I'm not sure. Uh, I'm always torn with pencil and watercolor. Um, I don't like to do straight ink on these because geology is hard and you want to be able to erase and fix proportional problems. All right, we're going to move on now. How's everybody doing? Check in. Can you still see and hear everything?
Yeah. All is well.
Okay, great. It's sometimes nice just for me to check in and make sure that people are still there. Thank you. All right, we were in Romania. Now we're going all the way over to this gorgeous formation in Georgia. I couldn't find very many. Well, I only found this one photo. Some people think it's slightly photoshopped the purple, which I agree, although the sky is blue. Uh, but this is a beautiful formation. I don't think we've done a syncline yet. So this is an upward facing fold that then it's been eroded and in such a way that it's just like this beautiful giant formation sitting there as a kind of a work of art. So it's 10,800 feet tall and it dates to the Cretaceous and wow, Jurassic, formed during the Caucasus Mountains orogeny. Orogeny is a mountain building event. And Catis vera means cat's mustache. I like cat's whiskers, but that's cute. So this will be pretty challenging for sure. Time to turn the page and move some things around. Okay. What? Probably the easiest. Look, I already got a bloop on the opposite side there. What we want to do, don't want to get, I'm not going to get too huge on this. I will not go any farther than probably here. And so I'm going to very lightly sketch the basic mustache, right? Shape, and then I will refine it. And since we don't have all the information, we can sort of extrapolate. I think that's good there. And then what you don't want to miss out on is making sure you've got this whole shape here, which I think we do. Okay. Now that I'm, see if I can lighten that up so you can see. I really just did the cat's whiskers shape. Now I'm going to go in and press harder and create more of the shape. So I'm just being jaggedy here, jaggedy there. Come down. This next fold comes up. Give it a little bit of a roundy bit. Bring that down to the next. See that? And just let your, almost like truly a contour drawing. That's what we're doing. Jaggedy, jaggedy. Then you have a ledge. Make it go up a little bit. Come down. Find another ledge. Find another ledge. Till we get down to there. And we can just sort of peter that out there. So now we've got, you can start working back over here with this smoother peak. Here's an important shape right there. Bring that down. And then just use your pencil to bring down these other shapes. Here's the main syncline right there. Aim right for that there. Now, that's it. We've got that. So now we can look here and notice these shapes here. Do some This is vertical lines. That's a strong ledge there. Gets a little bit murkier here. Now we've got another. So let's see, we've got this one. I've got one more down here. Two more, sorry. Yeah. Again, don't get too hung up though. We're capturing. And then give this one main one here plenty of verticals because that's going to have several, just give them some swooshes. Use broken lines here. I'm doing this more lightly because this is less defined. And just give it some squiggles. We've got over here more squiggles, a few strong. And to get those cones in there too. So we've got debris cones. Don't worry too much about those details because that will detract from our syncline. And you see how with just a few careful darks, we've captured it and we haven't killed it with too many details. And then what I'll do to kind of give it a scale is I'm going to do my little wildflower meadow right here. And we'll put some of the purple flowers in here to enhance the purple of the mountain. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the purple. It's not going to be, maybe I want the graphite this time. We'll see. I could sit here and noodle on it all day long, but I don't. Again, we're capturing. We're not doing a complete copy. You could, wouldn't it be fun to just sit here all day long and sketch this? I'll clean the palette. Now we're going for some purple using cyan and magenta. Oop, that's too, I want more blue purple. I like that. I'm going to water it down though, because we need to get depth of color. You don't want to make it all too dark. And if you can, which I'm probably not going to do it on this, we'll come back and add the white bits of snow with a gel pen or white charcoal. So when you're quick sketching in your journal, it's really hard to reserve those whites. Though as I got out here, I'm letting the brush do dry brush. Which is just more interesting. Another reason I'm veering away from Water brushes is they're just not, you can't get as much control. Yeah, I think I'll let that dry for a bit. Got some, managed to make it look like snow. Didn't think I would. And let's get that green. Oh, don't forget, before I mix the green, let's get some purple wildflowers. So I think that's a nice little enhancement. So to show the foreground, that will help give the scale to the mountain. And you would do this sitting in the field. You would make that decision to do that, which will really help define it. And you can also, if you wanted, do some green and add the white flowers, either using dry brush or a white gel. You see how you sort of skip and dance the brush. And then when you have a brush with a nice skinny tip, you can just add your grassy. I am doing some license here, doing more grass than the photo shows because I can. Great. And if we had time, we would maybe fill in here. But for now, we're just going to leave this. If you start doing too much detail in here, you're going to get a bit sideways. Um, you'll ruin the effect of the scale um, that we were after. So go ahead and either just leave it loose like that, or you could go in with a very, very wet, like so, just to bridge the white. And literally, I'm just a very wet brush and I'm uh, using dirty water, the dirty paint palette. But I would be tempted to, but maybe not want to do all the rocks and things. If you wanted, you could do some hint of these slopes and colors here. Um, but don't overdo it like so. Yeah, I would leave that. Let it dry and see how it looks. Then we can come back in and start adding a few more darks. I have just a minute or two, but just to show what I mean, for example, we can darken some of this syncline action or use your graphite. But this is a very strong feature right here that I'm enhancing with neutral tint. Not a lot. You don't want it like super black. Um, Coming in Just use your like little whiskery bits to enhance like so. And go ahead and use your finger to scrub it in a bit. See how that really helps pop it. Come in here. Don't want to lose the watercolory, the nice way that laid in there. So be conservative. Better to add a little bit at a time than too much and kind of wreck it. All right, so you get the kind of gist of that. Fun. That was fun. Oh, forgot the label. Okay. So this is, we're on 5, right? 4, 5. Catitsphera. I don't even, I just know, we're talking about Jurassic and Cretaceous. I'm not even sure exactly which types of rocks. Titsvera. Let's call it. Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm committed. It's a semi-Georgian spelling. That's funny. Um, so we are talking 10,800 foot tall syncline. And upward facing fold. And we can put in the Cretaceous, Jurassic. Very old. Nice. I like the way that is going to shape up. Again, capture, don't copy, and you'll do so much better, so much fun. All right. Time to move on. So we have 3 more to do in 30 minutes. Whoops. Now we're moving up to the Baltic Sea. You might guess, if you know, Baltic amber. This is going to be fun. So, amber is succinite, uh, complex formation, which is a polymerization of molecules in the resin that they join together to form these large hard networks into what we call amber. These particular ones in the Baltic are the most famous and common, and are about 56, 33 million years old. The tree resin of the Baltic amber was from a conifer in the genus Ceadopityaceae. Wow, of which there's now only one left, so they're almost gone. So is a specific tree that the amber or the resin was formed to become the amber. So I'm cleaning my palette because this is going to be a challenge. Oh, stop. Okay. I'm moving going to put that there this time. Amber's, well, we want that beautiful, clear look, don't we? So what I'm going to do is just do the barest shape with my pencil. Don't worry too much about being perfect. So that I have my outline. You can barely see that. Whoa. Because I think if I have time, I'm going to do that little insect in ink, which should, if I do it now, it should dry in time so that I can watercolor over it. I don't want to use pencil or anything else because it just gets so muddy in the watercolor. So there's our little insect and a little in couple inclusions, but I'm not going to go crazy there. I'm going to let that dry while we do some notes. So this is amber. The resin comprises succinate in its fossilized form, I think. It's a complex carbon chain, a hydrated carbon too. Oof. Wow, that's a complex formula. And it is from the Baltic. So it's the sap from a conifer. Haha. CIA, dope. It TACE.
Oh boy.
I know. I'm not sure whose uh mic is on, but that was funny. Yeah. Polymerization. That's almost as hard process. And we're talking about 56 to 33 million years ago in the Eocene. Nice. And insect inclusions. Sometimes they can identify the species. Well, I hope that is dry. Let me do a little test. Nope. It's damper in the desert today. Oh, that just wrecked it. We're going to go with that as a feature though. So what I want to do is I'm going to work around this part. So let that dry. And hope that ink is just nice shadows. We're going to work with a base of transparent yellow with a tiny bit of magenta in it. And we'll be pulling in more yellow as well with a you want it to be nice and wet. And I'm getting it working around our insect there. Actually, it was those dots, the insect's okay. So I'm grabbing this amber color, putting the bulk of it around the edges, and we'll build that up. And then you like almost clear water. I'm doing this top here. And go ahead and leave bits. Now I'm taking a Kleenex here though, because I'm going to have a slice of the highlight there that I want to make sure. I need more of that amber color. Yellow, a bright clear yellow. Don't use a Quinn Gold or something like that. It's more opaque. We're just going to keep adding in this amber color. A little bit darker. Working from the outside edges. See how that's doing? Then I can close that highlight just a little with a damp, clean brush. Let's get those edges. I'm going to have to incorporate our smidge. Do you see how that works? It's going to dry quite a bit lighter. I'm going to go ahead and add, oops, I'm going to make a brown using my primary colors. That way it's more harmonious. And just drop it in a little bit, not much, for this really dark. I want it to be almost a reddish brown. That's better. I would just want a little bit of extra there. Now I'm going to smooth it out with a lot of water. And now I'm bringing in more of the orange to attenuate that. Get rid of that hard edge. And again, I want to get rid of that hard edge. And more orange. I want more of that pretty orange right in here. Again, you're working with transparent colors, so you want to try to maintain that. There we go. Oop. And I'm going to get some pure yellow, really, really light, and just drop that in just barely, leaving some highlights. I'm going to let that sit for a bit, and I'll have to go in after and fix these edges here, but that's okay. but you can see how that's going to dry and look more ambery. And then I can go in barest after it dries, come back with a wash of just the barest reddish orange, barely to get more of those inclusions. So I like the way that came out. Wow, that's wet. So hopefully that will dry a bit more. But I think that we'll get there. The last thing you'll do is add shadow under your amber. But we have 2 more places to go in 15 minutes, so we're going to get there. Now we're going all the way back up to Northern Europe, to Iceland. This really interesting feature that is pretty unique. It's nowhere else in the world does this type of formation show so clearly. This is actually 2 continental plates, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge where the Eurasian plate and the North American plate, so North American, Eurasian plate, let's go back, North American, Eurasian are moving apart about, it seems kind of fast, like 2 centimeters a year. That's crazy. So we're talking about also, remember, Iceland is very volcanic, so magma can rise through these gaps, and that's probably what we're seeing are these very volcanic formations in here. This is also just coincidentally nearby is the annual Parliament of Iceland from the year 930 all the way up until 1798. So how are we going to sketch this, though? What I would recommend, it's going to be really easy to get kind of sideways on this. So I'm going to start with the farthest point here. And very loosely, I'm going to, in my mind, what I'm trying to do is I'm sketching the bottom of the gorge, not the outside, but the green part. Okay, because here I am. Okay, I'm making it like really wobbly. Here, and then here's that formation. And then I've got some formations here, and then it comes around like this. Again, I'm sketching the green part here. Now I will go in and add the walls. Like so. And then we have created, this is going to be our green part here. Now I am going to continue with the green. Okay, there's a gap here. I'm going to just sketch this bottom part, not the walls. Now this is the rock. I'm just going to let it kind of peter out here. As you do these lines, follow the contour. Don't make it all one size. See, there we have our gorge. You see how we did that. Just going to let this peter out. We're not going to try to draw the whole thing. Now I'm drawing some rocks in here. And I'm going to quick do, let's see, follow this down. We've got some foliage in here. And more cliffs here. Sketch your lines, then join it up at the top. And then I think the last thing I'll do, so we don't like spend too much time, we've got some fissures like here. Sketch in a few of those, a little bit lighter, farther away. Bring that in. Got some fissure there. Goes off there. And we've got one little formation we want to get in here. Like so. And I think we can go with this now. This is just making sure, no, we've got some green. This one, let's see, I've got that wall, green, fissure, rock. Okay, this is more rock here. And then this will be green in here. With just a little bit of rock in here. Okay. I think we can work with that. Cleaning the palette. I need some green. Any color. So one of the things I sometimes do, there might be some color in here that I can actually grab to enhance out here, right? Why not when you're cleaning your palette? That'll help it to be less monotone greeny. Although it's really bright emerald green in the bottom, isn't it? So just mix up some green. And I'm going to drop that in here. I'm going to let it go pretty wet. I like the way it's, when you do that, it turns nice pools and you don't get that. Just, if you go too dry, it just looks flat. It's a little harder to control. And then we have to wait longer for things to dry, but I like it. And you want the upper green to be lighter and then more detailed than this lower green, which is, I want to darken a bit. There. We'll let that sit. It will come to life more when we get these darks in. But I think that's going to be a really great representation of this really cool cleft, which is number 7. See, we'll call it the Icelandic Rift Valley, since we already looked at the African Rift Valley. And it is the Eurasian plate, and North American plate. Moving apart. About 2 centimeters a year. Wow. And we can label these when it's dry. Part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So we'll go in and label. So I can already see the amber we're going to want to hit with some bright yellow wash to give it more glow. See how it dried. But I think it'll get there. And it's time for our final destination in Europe, which is going to be down in Greece for this gorgeous mineral called blue shattuckite, which this is kind of fun because the type name is actually named for the Shattuck mine, where it's also found in Bisbee, Arizona, which is where our post office is, just south of us. So that's pretty fun. This is a beautiful secondary mineral in copper deposits. So as you can see from the formula, Cu is copper. It has lots of oxidation and silicates, sorry, and often found as inclusions in quartz in Greece. Very soft, Mohs scale 3.5, and quite rare. So we'll have fun with sketching this. And I think, if you have time, great, you can try sketching the whole thing. But what I'm going to do is zoom in on one part and capture the beautiful discs with the rays. So, for example, I think what I'll do, that way we can play with color. I'm going to draw that one disc on the right that kind of grew out of the base rock, kind of comes in. There's a secondary, so you've got the little, this arch here, and then there's another little secondary growth of another beautiful formation there. So what I want to capture is just some very fine lines of that crystal structure. They all radiate from that little center. So I'm trying to get that geometry that really shows that. And then using dots, here's the edge of a change in the formation. We've got this inclusion, more radiating. more inclusion there. Then there's a kind of a growth there. I think what I'll do is give myself a bounding box, a partial bounding box. This is fun. So if you do a partial bounding box, you can have it just sort of you're zooming in, but let it spill out a little bit. And that way we can do the details we want while not spending all day drawing it, which is fine if you want to. So I'm going to, this will just sort of go off like that. Well, obviously we're zooming in here, so I'm just going to fill this with color and focus on this as my formation. Dot, 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 because that is not a solid line. And then look how there's more of this radiating in here. Ooh, how fun. Yeah, I'm going to just focus on that. Just a nice little trick if you want to keep yourself from going too far down a rabbit hole. Let's clean off the palette. And I'm going to be able to lay down some initial cyan to get that going. Take some notes, and then we'll be good to go. All right. Let's see what we can get here. I'm going to wet this first. Ooh, my water's not clean. Also, that graphite. Blah. Okay. Ideally, we would have gotten fresh water. I just want to let this beautiful, pure cyan color just radiate out there. It's not going to be a solid color. I don't want it to be. You could also zoom in even more on just one section and really focus on the texture. So I'll let that, you want to let that dry. And then I've got these other colors in here, which are, I'm going to let that texture really show. I'm just focusing on getting that color in there, and then I can come back and add details. But it's much darker. See that? Wherever you get that nice and wet. I don't want to even come close to touching the other blue. Ah, see, you'll get that bloom. Bing. Ah, got it. So we'll let that play out. And then I'll be able to come back and tease out shapes using darks and also some white sparklies we want to get in there. We'll want to carve out this shape here, which we can do with this. It's really great to be able to, I love lifting paints so we can mark out these shapes. It's another thing natural brushes are better for. All right, I'm going to let that dry. Oh, I'm going to erase this part. Decided not to use that, right? So now we've got just the bounding box just zoomed in, which is fun. So this is number 8. Oops. Blue Shattercut. Bisbee's got a big copper mine. Beautiful turquoise from there. It's called Bisbee Blue. Oh, this is CU5 SI206 2 hydrogen 2. That's a secondary mineral. In copper deposits. And named after Bisbee Mine, Arizona. And it's Arizona, Namibia. So it's pretty rare. And Greece. Fun. Well, I think those are actually going to be really fun to finish up. They came out pretty fun. You can see how the darks are going to help. We'll add some yellow to pop that up. It's not a great uh, camera, so it's actually browner than it looks on the paper live. I can't turn the page. This guy's still too wet, but we'll have fun working that. So let's see what I think we're going to just I think this is it. Finish up. Yes, thank you so much. We'll take a few moments to if anyone wants to share what they've done, but thank you for coming and also for if you enjoyed these free workshops, we'll put my tip jar in the comments. So let me stop the share and find where you guys are. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to switch to gallery view. All right. Turn on your cameras so we can see everybody. Woo, those was some intense ones, weren't there? Anyone want to share? Use the raise hand feature on the Zoom so that that brings you up to the top. If you want to share, then I'll spotlight you. Yay, Randy, let me spotlight you. All right, let's see what you got.
Okay, let's see. That's a lot in a little time.
Isn't it?
This is my
Ooh, nice job. See how she just captured the, oh, I like how you did the bounding box for the tour. Excellent. And then you didn't go crazy on the detail with the giants. That's perfect. Love it. You did better. Did you get I got crossways on the dang hexagons.
oh yeah. I know it's like oh Where did that start and where did that end?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, nice Trevant. Oh, fun. You got really far.
Yeah, a little bit on the,
Well done. Oh, nicely done.
yeah, the last one.
Ooh, good colors. Oh, I like how you did the rift. Ah, see, you didn't try to do as much as I did. I like yours. It looks really good. It'll go in
Thanks.
the darks. Nice one. All right, let's see. Who else would like to share? It's always fun. Come on, one more person. Don't be shy. You can just share one thing. Come on. Yay, Jan. Ah, nice huge book. That's great. Look at all that you can fit in. Oh, look how she did the giants. I like that. Ooh, completely different perspective. Really came out nice. And the Trevant is so fun. Nice one. Really well done. Excellent. Look at how far everyone got. Ooh, what did you use for the amber? That looks great. What paints did you use? Oh, you're mute. I think you're still, we don't have sound on you. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, you've got your whole palette. Okay. You had some nice, probably Quinn gold or something in there. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, and let me spotlight Anne. Okay. Ooh, another great job on the amber. Look at that. What colors did you use for the amber?
Unmute.
Yeah, now you're oh, you're not unmuted yet. We can't hear you, and you're muted. There you go.
There. Okay.
What what what
I think it was a
colors?
Quinn Gold.
Yeah,
Quinn Gold.
nice. Yeah, it looks really nice and well done on the transparency. Queen Gold's really hard to get that transparent, so you did a great job with that. Really great. Look at those. Ah, how fun. Oh, and you got a long way on the Shattuckite. That looks really, really nice. Good colors. Fun. Oh, I love all those. Oh, and look at her shading on the tour on Glastonbury. Um, that's perfect. Look at that. And the highlights along the edges. So we'll all copy that. I really like that. Nicely done. Thank you. Yay. And let's see, we'll do Ellen. Um, oops. Let me spotlight you. Ellen, you'll have to turn your video on before I can spotlight you. There we go. All right, now we can.
Okay, you should be able to hear me.
Yeah, that looks good. Oh, look at that. How fun. Oh, the perspective and the shapes on Giant's Causeway is great. I love that. And the Trevant, those were hard. That's really great proportions. I
The
like that.
Travant looked like some kind of wonderful rounded animal. I
Didn't it?
just loved it. And let's see, I know this is wet, but I don't care. Turn the page anyway.
Oh, well done. Nicely done. Great, Amber. Oh, and I like the what how you pulled out the just that one cool disc on the Shattuckite. That way you can get it done and not spend the next 4 days doing it. Well done. Oh, I
Will
hope
we
that.
will we be able to access these this
Oh, yes.
lesson
So
class?
I put uh the recording on the website along with my pages, and then you can go back and on the recording, then you can access, have it if you want to keep drawing, you stop it at the
Great,
spot that you want to draw.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's fun because I'm gonna have to spend, an hour going back and just finishing what I couldn't finish. Um, but it gives us a nice way to practice these 15-minute, just capture the essence and stop being scared about details. It forces us to move on, right? To turn that page and carry on. And it's been a great way for me to get better at being quick and not overworking, which is my specialty. Yeah, I hear a lot of like, mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys for coming. And I will send that out. I've got the let's see. Let me put in, I can also put in the tip jar here, which I always appreciate. Um, I hope everyone's going to have a nice rest of your Sunday. Thanks for coming on Sunday this time. Great. Thank you all. And oh, and if you want to share your finished pages, I'll put them on the website. So please send them if you would like. I always love doing that. All right. Take care, and I'll have the next one out. We'll do it in June. So we've got what, four more to do. No, three more. Let's see. 6, 7, 8, 9. No, four more to do. Wait, I just counted wrong, didn't I? No, only 3. 7, 8, 9, oh, and 10. See, I have to use my fingers. Great. And then you have to start thinking of what we're going to do next, right? I have no idea. Okay, take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Roseann.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks.